The night the sirens didn't stop. If you're drawn to stories that crawl under your skin and refuse to let go, make sure you hit subscribe, leave a comment, and stay with me, because what happened inside Mississippi State Prison is something most people wish they never knew. The sirens started just after midnight. Not the usual alarms that echoed through the aging corridors, but something sharp, urgent, relentless, and wrong. Correctional officers rushed through the dimly lit hallways, their boots slamming against concrete floors worn down by decades of tension. Radios crackled with overlapping voices, each one trying to make sense of the chaos unfolding inside Unit C. "We've got a situation," one voice shouted. "Multiple inmates involved, possible casualties." By the time Captain Raymond Cole arrived at the scene, the damage had already been done. A body lay motionless near the steel bars of a cell, the scene eerily quiet except for the distant echo of alarms. The victim was identified as inmate Daniel Price, a man serving time for armed robbery, but nothing about his death looked simple. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no immediate suspects. It was as if whatever happened had been swift, calculated, and invisible. Cole had seen violence before. Mississippi State Prison wasn't known for being forgiving, but this felt different. This felt deliberate. Detective Laura Bennett was called in before sunrise. She had built her reputation on solving cases others couldn't entangle. And the moment she stepped into Unit C, she knew this wasn't just another prison incident. The air itself felt heavy, like the walls were holding onto something they didn't want to give up. "Walk me through it," she said, crouching beside the body. Cole crossed his arms, his expression tight. No witnesses willing to talk. Cameras went out for exactly 4 minutes. When they came back on, Price was already down. Bennett frowned. 4 minutes is all it took. "That's what bothers me," Cole replied. "Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing." The autopsy report came back fast, but it raised more questions than answers. The cause of death wasn't immediately obvious. There were subtle signs, small, almost unnoticeable injuries that suggested precision rather than chaos. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was controlled, intentional, and possibly planned long before that night. As Bennett dug deeper, one name kept surfacing in quiet whispers among the inmates: Marcus Grave Holloway. Holloway wasn't just another prisoner. He had a reputation, the kind that made even hardened criminals lower their voices when they spoke about him. Serving multiple life sentences, Holloway had been linked to crimes that stretched far beyond Mississippi, each one more calculated than the last. But what made him truly dangerous wasn't just his past, it was his influence. He rarely spoke, rarely moved, yet somehow things happened around him, things people couldn't explain. Bennett requested to see him. The guards hesitated, exchanging uneasy glances before finally agreeing. When she entered the visitation room, Holloway was already there, sitting perfectly still, his eyes locked on the table in front of him. He didn't look up when she approached. "Marcus Holloway," Bennett began, taking a seat across from him. "I'm here about Daniel Price." For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, Holloway raised his head. His gaze was calm, almost detached, but there was something else beneath it. Something that made Bennett instinctively tense. "People see what they want to see," he said quietly. "But they never look where it matters." Bennett leaned forward. "And where does it matter?" A faint smile touched his lips. "Not where he died," Holloway replied. "Where it started." The answer lingered in the air, heavy with implication. Bennett left the room with more questions than she had answers, but one thing was clear: Holloway knew something. The question was how much. Back in Unit C, Bennett ordered a full sweep of the area. Every inch of the cell block was searched, every inmate questioned again, every piece of footage reviewed frame by frame. Hours turned into a relentless cycle of dead ends and frustration, until one officer called her over. "You need to see this," he said, pointing to a section of the wall inside Price's cell. At first glance, it looked like nothing, just scratches etched into the surface, barely noticeable unless you were looking for them. But as Bennett leaned closer, her breath caught. The markings weren't random. They formed a pattern, precise, intentional, almost like a message. "This wasn't here before," the officer added. Bennett's mind raced. A message left behind in the one place no one thought to look. Holloway's words echoed in her mind. "Not where he died. Where it started. Check the other cells," she ordered. All of them. What they found changed everything. The same markings, repeated, hidden in plain sight across multiple cells, each one slightly different, but connected, like pieces of something bigger, something unfinished. Bennett felt a chill run down her spine as the realization began to take shape. This wasn't about one inmate. This wasn't even about one night. It was something that had been building, quietly, patiently, right under their noses. And then, just as she began to piece it together, another call came through her radio. "Detective," the voice said, strained and urgent. "We've got another one." Bennett's grip tightened on the device, where there was a pause, just long enough to make her heart sink. "Same unit," the officer replied. "Same pattern." And in that moment, Bennett knew they weren't dealing with a single crime anymore. They were standing at the beginning of something far worse. The pattern no one could stop. The second body changed everything. It wasn't just another inmate found unresponsive in Unit C, it was how identical it felt. Same stillness, same absence of struggle. Same quiet, almost surgical precision that left behind more questions than evidence. Detective Laura Bennett stood at the scene, her eyes scanning every inch of the cell, searching for something, anything that could break the pattern. "Name?" she asked without looking up. "Terrence Blake," Captain Cole replied. "Serving 15. No known enemies." Bennett exhaled slowly. That's what they said about Price. Cole didn't argue. He didn't need to. They were both thinking the same thing. This wasn't random. This wasn't personal. This was controlled. And whoever was behind it was still inside the prison. The markings were there again, carved into the wall just like before, but this time they were clearer, more deliberate. Bennett crouched closer, tracing the lines with her eyes, not her hands. There was a rhythm to them now, a sequence. "They're evolving," she muttered. "What do you mean?" Cole asked. "The first set was messy, almost hidden," Bennett said. "This one, it's more confident. Like whoever's doing this knows we're watching." Cole's jaw tightened. "You think they want to be caught?" Bennett shook her head. "No. I think they want us to understand." Back in the control room, the footage told the same frustrating story. Cameras in Unit C went dark for exactly 4 minutes again. No glitches before. No issues after. Just a perfect window of silence. "That's not a malfunction," Bennett said firmly. "That's access." The technician hesitated. "Only a few people can override the system like that." Bennett turned to Cole. "Then we start with them." One by one, staff members with clearance were questioned. Some were nervous, others defensive, but none of them cracked. No inconsistencies, no obvious motive. It was as if whoever was pulling the strings had found a way to operate without leaving a trace. Or worse, they weren't working alone. By late afternoon, tension inside the prison had reached a breaking point. Inmates were whispering, guards were doubling shifts, and every locked door suddenly felt less secure. Fear was spreading faster than facts. Bennett returned to Holloway. This time, the guards didn't hesitate, they looked relieved. Like handing him over might somehow shift the burden off their shoulders. Holloway sat exactly as before, calm, unmoved, as if time didn't affect him the same way it did everyone else. "Another one," Bennett said, taking her seat. "You knew it would happen." Holloway tilted his head slightly. "You're starting to listen," he said. Bennett leaned in, her voice sharper now. "2 men are dead. Same method, same markings. Tell me what this is." Holloway's eyes met hers. "Steady and unreadable. It's a system," he said. "A structure built on movement, routine, and control." "Speak clearly," Bennett snapped. "You're not in charge here." For the first time, Holloway smiled. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just enough to unsettle her. "That's where you're wrong," he said softly. Bennett held his gaze, refusing to look away. "Then prove it." There was a pause, long enough to stretch the tension between them. Then Holloway leaned forward slightly. "Check the guards," he said. "Not their records. Their patterns." Bennett didn't respond immediately, but something about the way he said it felt precise, intentional. She stood up without another word and walked out. Back in the hallway, she found Cole waiting. "Well?" he asked. Bennett didn't slow down. "We've been looking at people," she said. "We need to start looking at behavior." Cole frowned. "You lost me." "Shift rotations. Movement logs. Who's where, when, and for how long," Bennett explained. "If someone's controlling those 4 minutes, They're not just hacking the system, they're aligning with it. Cole's expression changed. You think someone inside is coordinating this? Bennett stopped walking and looked at him directly. I think someone inside is using the system better than we are. Within the hour, they had every movement log pulled from the last 72 hours. Guards, inmates, maintenance crews, anyone with access to Unit C. At first, it looked like noise to many variables, to many overlapping movements. But then, slowly, a pattern began to emerge. One name kept appearing, not constantly, not obviously, but consistently enough to stand out once you knew where to look. Officer Daniel Reeves. Cole stared at the screen. Reeves. He's been here 5 years. Clean record. Bennett didn't blink. So far. Reeves was brought in immediately. He looked confused, almost offended, as he sat down across from Bennett and Cole. I don't understand, he said. I've done nothing wrong. Bennett slid the movement logs across the table. You were in Unit C both nights, she said. Within minutes of the camera outages, Reeves glanced at the papers, then back at her. That's my assignment, he said. I work that block. And you just happened to be there when 2 inmates end up dead. Cole pressed. Reeves shook his head, frustration creeping into his voice. You're reaching. Bennett studied him closely. His reactions were sharp. Defensive but not necessarily guilty. Something felt off, not wrong, just incomplete. Tell me. About Holloway, she said suddenly. Reeves blinked. What about him? Your interactions, Bennett clarified. Anything unusual? Reeves hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. He watches people, Reeves said finally. Not like the others. He pays attention. Like he's memorizing everything. Bennett exchanged a glance with Cole. Everything, Reeves nodded slowly. Shifts, routines. Who comes in? Who leaves? It's like he's mapping the place in his head. The room fell silent. Because suddenly, it made sense. The markings. The timing. The precision. This wasn't just about control. It was about understanding the prison better than anyone else. Bennett stood up, her mind racing. We need to get back to that wall, she said. Now, when they reached Unit C, something felt different. The air was heavier, quieter. Like the prison itself was holding its breath. And then they saw it. The markings had changed again, expanded, more complex, more complete. Bennett stepped closer, her pulse quickening as her eyes followed the lines, the shapes, the connections. It wasn't just a pattern anymore, it was a map, a path, and at the center of it, a single word had been carved, deeper than the rest. Exit. Bennett's breath caught. Because she realized what it meant. This wasn't about killing. It never was. It was about something else entirely. Something far more dangerous. And as she turned to call it in, a guard's voice echoed down the corridor, filled with panic. Holloway's gone. The words hit like a shockwave. Bennett froze. Then slowly turned back toward the wall. Toward the path. Toward the word staring back at her. And in that moment, one terrifying truth settled in. He hadn't just disappeared. He had in a world shrouded by forgotten tales, where ancient stones whisper secrets of a bygone era, a new darkness stirs. A shadow, long dormant, now stretches its tendrils across the land, threatening to consume all light and hope. Prophecies speak of a chosen one, a beacon against the encroaching night, destined to face the ultimate challenge. But destiny is a heavy burden, and the path ahead is fraught with peril, demanding courage beyond measure. Our journey begins where the past intertwines with the present, where legends are born and tested, whispers of an ancient artifact, a key to unlocking the truth, guide their first hesitant steps into the unknown. Through dense, enchanted forests, where ancient trees loom like silent sentinels, they press onward. Each rustle of leaves, every distant call, heightens the sense of anticipation and unseen dangers lurking. They encounter strange, ethereal creatures, guardians of the forest, testing their resolve and courage. Across treacherous mountain passes, where jagged peaks pierce the sky, the air grows thin and cold. The elements themselves seem to conspire against them, a relentless test of endurance and will. Within forgotten crypts, deep beneath the earth, ancient puzzles guard long-lost knowledge. Each solved riddle brings them closer to the truth, but also deeper into the heart of the mystery. They encounter allies, wise and battle-hardened, who offer guidance and strength in their darkest hours, and adversaries, driven by their own dark ambitions, stand as formidable obstacles on the path. The shadow grows, its influence spreading, twisting the very fabric of reality around them. Visions of a catastrophic past haunt their dreams, revealing the true cost of failure. They discover a hidden sanctuary, a place of ancient power, where the lines between worlds blur. Here, they learn of the shadow's true origin, a malevolent force born from ancient betrayal. The weight of the world rests upon their shoulders, a burden they must carry alone. Yet with the strength of many, the final confrontation looms. A clash that will decide the fate of all existence. They stand at the precipice of destiny, their heart pounding with a mix of fear and unwavering resolve. The air crackles with raw power as they face the embodiment of the shadow. A being of pure malevolence, a desperate battle ensues, a maelstrom of light and darkness. Where every strike carries immense consequence, allies fight alongside them, a testament to the bonds forged in the crucible of their shared journey. The fortress trembles. Ancient stones groaning under the immense power unleashed in their struggle. In a moment of profound sacrifice, a pivotal choice is made, altering the course of the battle. Fueled by grief and renewed determination, the protagonist unleashes their full potential. A blinding flash of light engulfs the chamber, a culmination of all their struggles and hopes. Silence descends, heavy and profound, as the dust settles, revealing the aftermath of the epic clash. The shadow is vanquished, but victory comes at a cost, etched into the hearts of those who fought. A new dawn breaks over the land, painting the sky with hues of hope and renewal. The scars of battle remain, a reminder of the darkness overcome and the sacrifices made. Life begins to flourish once more, slowly reclaiming what was lost, a testament to resilience. The hero, no longer alone, walks among their people, a quiet guardian of the fragile peace. Their journey has ended, but their legacy will echo through the ages. A beacon for future generations. For even in the deepest darkness, hope can ignite, and courage can forge a path to a brighter tomorrow.